The third titled subject from the index, which was shown in the introductory video, is now second evolute of Prakriti. The nature is ego, ahankar, which is the second evolute of Prakriti or the first evolute of Buddhi under Rajas and Tamas expressions. While talking about the first evolute of Prakriti, that is Buddhi, we said that Buddhi is the most prominent evolute in subtle form and carries a positive approach in sattvic expressions or sattvic attributes, whereas ahankar means ego is the second evolute of Prakriti or the first evolute of Buddhi, is the lone source, means only source for many miseries in this universe. The human is haunted by miseries because of his ego or ahankar. This is more prominent at human level. Ahankar or ego encourages the identification of individual level, that is physical body or personality, where I-ness means me or mine kind of expression is significantly demonstrated. Now let us refer to diagram 5. Now you are seeing diagram 5 on your screens. What it is showing? You will find that ahankar, the second evolute of Prakriti, is emerging from Rajas and Tamas expressions of Buddhi. In other words to say, ahankar is the first evolute of Buddhi. So this ego, which is the main negative approach of any human in his life. Unless a human being restricts his ego and allow it to subdue, he will go out of sync with his soul and remain within the birth and death cycle of life. So from this diagram, now what we have done so far in all these previous 3 episodes and this, including this one, we have identified 4 elements of this universe. From backward we can go like ahankar as an evolute of Buddhi and Buddhi as an evolute of Prakriti. Prakriti itself is an evolute from the Mool Prakriti. So in addition to that, the omnipresent Supreme Soul is also there. So we have now identified 4 elements in our discourse which is narrated until now. When the level of ego grows in any human, what we do? We tend to forget the cosmic nature of intelligence, which is embedded in the unmanifested Mool Prakriti, and only recognize and appreciate the individual intelligence. This individual identification process, if in dominance, alienates the individual or the human community from reality. More and more the human engrossed in egoism, the greater and greater the alienation from the Supreme Consciousness or the Supreme Soul. If we remember what we said in the previous episodes, we would recollect that it has been repeatedly talked about the impact of embedded 3 attributes. Those are Sattva, Rajas, Tamas of Prakriti on its each and every evolute. So we have to understand the impact of these three attributes will also be there on ahankar. If you remember, when you looked at the diagram 5 on your screen, what did you find? Ahankar is emerging as an evolute of buddhi under rajas and tamas expressions, which means at the time of emergence itself, ahankar is carrying a negative approach. That's why we said in the beginning of this episode, ahankar is the lone reason for many miseries of human being. It is important to learn here that rest of the 21 evolutes of Prakriti are emerging from ahankar, that is ego, which is the evolute of buddhi under rajas and tamas expressions. What should we grasp from this? This shows the power or intensity of impact of ego on all evolutes of Prakriti. Ahankar is so powerful, it will have its reflection on all evolutes of Prakriti. If you remember in one of the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna told Arjuna, if you don't control your ego, it is impossible for you to control your mind. That is the one which causes all diversities in this human culture. We are already aware of Prakriti, Buddhi and Ahankar as three elements or evolutes of Mool Prakriti. Purusha being number one element because Mool Prakriti is drawing all the power, immense power from Purusha because of its close proximity. So we have identified four elements so far in our episodes which are in the process of manifestation of Mool Prakriti. Let us now discuss the further evolutes which are emerging due to the impact of three attributes on ego. Now look at the diagram 6 on your screen now. From this picture there on your screen or diagram, we can clearly understand that the evolute ahankar which has emerged from rajasic and tamasic attributes of buddhi is further evolving into 11 faculties as a result of sattvic attributes. Now look at diagram 6 on your screen, which you can find that ahankar is now divided into two segments. One is sattvic ahankar and tamasic ahankar. Now what is happening? If you look at the left side of your diagram, under sattvic ahankar you find three separate boxes. What is the first box is talking about? 5 karmendriyas. Means working senses or working organs. What is this list is talking about in that box? Hands, legs, mouth, rectum means also known as eliminator, genitals which is also known as reproductive organ. So with these 5 elements, now you can identify total 9 elements of Mool Prakriti. Now look at the box next to Karmendriyas. The box is now reflecting a title that is 5 Gnanendriyas. Means knowledge gathering senses, which is again listed there reading like eyes, nose, ear, skin, tongue. With these 5 elements under Gnanendriyas of Sattvic Ahankar, we have now identified a total of 14 elements from Mahaprakriti or Mool Prakriti. as evolutes of Moola Prakriti. So now the third box under Sattvic Ahankar is identified as Manas, means mind, which is now recognized as element 15. Manas is again a very important evolute of Moola Prakriti. So I wish to talk about this in more details a little later. If you further look at the diagram 6 on the right hand side of your diagram, you are now finding Tamasic Ahankar. What is happening? Ahankar further evolves into 5 tanmatras under Tamasic Ahankar, which means subtle elements which are not visible to Gnanendriyas. Now if you look at your diagram 6 under Tamasic Ahankar, you find subtle essence as 5 tanmatras. What are those? Shabd means sound, Sparsh, touch or perception, Rupa means sight, Rasa means taste, Gandh means smell. With these 5 tanmatras, which are subtle elements, you can now identify total 20 elements or evolutes of Moola Prakriti. Including Moola Prakriti, you have now identified 20 elements or evolutes of Moola Prakriti. So, from this, again we will have to identify how these tanmatras evolving further. Now, further Tamasic attribute condenses into 5 gross elements, Mahabhutas, Panch Mahabhutas, we call them. Now look at diagram 6 once again on your right hand side. The last box is representing Mahabhutas or Panchabhutas. Now what is that list there? Akash, space or ether, Vayu, which means air, Agni or Teja, which means fire, Jal means water, and Prithvi means earth. With these 5 Mahabhutas or Panchabhutas, you have now identified total 25 evolutes or elements of Moola Prakriti, including the subtle form of Mahapurush, which is identified as Purush. It is easy to understand that evolute Ahankar emerging as an evolute of Buddhi under Rajas and Tamasic expressions is associated with feelings of self-pride, strong desire, frustration to achieve everything. Impact of these feelings will surely be seen within 21 evolutes of Ahankar. So with this, we are now completing the 24 tattvas of this entire universe, which we were talking about as interactive elements or something. We will talk about them further, but we will be concluding this episode 3 here with this narration. Hari Om.